Hello Cherries fans, we're outside the Vitality Stadium on an absolutely beautiful day, and as you can see with me is podcast hero himself, Morgan Scott. Morgan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's a scorcher downhill on the south coast. Thank God the players have got another week off, they can probably think. So yeah, getting prepared for the next season.
Yeah, temperatures I think like 31, 32 today, absolutely ridiculous. And you've been here for a few minutes longer than I have. I've just arrived. Have you seen any cars of interest, or can you see anyone that's here? Because I know that JT's doing his first press conference today, so by the time this goes out he'll have done his first conference at 3 o'clock in front of the media, albeit virtually. It'd be interesting to see what he has to say, won't it?
I think it will, and to be honest with you, after what we read on AFCB website and Twitter over the last few days, I think he's obviously going to come in and be star, and he knows this group of players. Let's pretend he knows what he's coming back to. It not like the fact that he's doesn't know any of these guys. You know, the lads hopefully will come back from their holidays in the next few days and then get ready for this championship campaign. And can I just reiterate this? We talk about the Prem being the best. The Championship, in my opinion, is the best of English football. 6 more games, Tuesday nights under the lights, Saturday game, no more stupid kickoffs.
Oh mate.
Between 7:45 and 3 o'clock. Tuesday night 7:45 and 3 o'clock on a Saturday. No 8 o'clock, no 6:30, no 7, no 7:45, 8 o'clock, no 9 o'clocks. It's proper. We know you might have the odd one, but it's very unlikely that we know our routine. You know, twice a week you're training, you're not stepping away from the game, and then you're just getting straight back into it. You know, you might have a couple of recovery days, then back in, and then, you know, it's not stop-start where you get one game every few days.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm really looking forward to it. So, Morgan, we've only been speaking since lockdown, and It's been sort of really interesting to see how the podcast and the channel has grown over the last sort of 3 or 4 months or so, because usually after a game I stand outside the 1910 bar over there, I get opinion after a game, and we thought, how can we replicate that? We did this fans free-for-all, and then this Morgan Scott appeared that I hadn't really seen before. I think we'd messaged on Instagram a few times, but then you come on and you know what, people absolutely love you, and they love your enthusiasm, and they love your opinion, and you're very outspoken sometimes. Some people say you speak too much, some people say I speak too much. People say that about everyone, but sometimes there are also some YouTube comments that I would say quite uncalled for, and this is the second in our fan stories playlist here on the YouTube channel. We chatted to Reese before and we found out all about him, and today it's going to give people a bit of an insight into your life, mate. And people look at people online, and you're ballsy enough to come on screen and you put a face to a name and you tell it how it is, but a lot of the commenters, they tend to stick behind a username and they say whatever they can say, and they sort of give them license that in their minds of saying whatever they want. And there were a few comments in the last video that I think were a little bit uncalled for, talking about like autism and stuff like that. I mean, and I ended up blocking them from the channel, so that if they're speaking, they're just going to be speaking to themselves, and they don't really know that no one can not see their comments. But tell us a little bit about yourself, mate.
So for anyone who doesn't know me, but most of you probably do by now, because I don't shut up, my name's Morgan Scott. So yeah, as Sam said, when did we do the last video? Saturday night. Unfortunately, early hours of Sunday morning, I woke up to some not so nice tweets and comments. So I thought I would come on here and kind of shut you up, if that makes sense. I'm not defeatist. I got diagnosed with autism and dyspraxia at 8 years of age. I'm now coming up 22, so it's pretty much my whole life. It just means I see things in a different way, so I process information in a different way, but I can tell you my memory is phenomenal. I got a photographic memory. So yeah, what they just have to put a label on things to get you the correct help. But I don't care. I'm still here. I started playing for Afc Bournemouth Ability Counts team, which is a disability team, if anyone didn't know, when I was 7. And I'm coming into my 16th season next season, and we have done some remarkable cool things that most people haven't. So probably one of the highlights would be going up to Stamford Bridge and playing on the pitch at Stamford Bridge. and that's the same with unfortunately Southampton ground, but then some training grounds as well, which is pretty cool. I've been to the new Brighton training base.
Nice.
About 90 minutes along the south coast, and then a little bit further again up to the opposite direction towards Southampton at Marchwood, which again not the nicest, but it's better than that in my opinion. It's at least they have a training ground, and then along the country up to London again to go to Cobham, and that's within the last maybe decade or so, and then obviously been lucky enough to actually represent AFC Bournemouth in an international tournament in Dusseldorf, and we stayed there for 3 years, and then last year we got to go to Cologne to stay there. And yes, okay, it's not AFC Bournemouth the first team, but to go on an international tournament abroad with your club representing AFC Bournemouth is kind of remarkable. So yeah, really lucky to play for such a fantastic team.
Yeah, and you've played for the Ability Count side as well, as you said, and I've seen you in action on Instagram and stuff, and through Instagram as well, you've also done a number of interviews with some AFC Bournemouth players, haven't you, and general people in the media that I found really interesting, one of which that we're hoping to put on the YouTube channel is with Jack Simpson. How did you manage to get hold of him, and you convinced him to chat to you for about 45-50 minutes?
Yeah, it's just over 50 minutes if I got my facts right. But yeah, no, I was just sat on Instagram one night and I was wondering what I could do, and I think he put on something with the I think it was the Chatterboxes or someone down in Bournemouth, and I managed to get I just messaged him. I replied to his story because on Instagram, if people don't know, they don't follow you, they don't always see what you're doing, so they don't always see your messages. So I sent him just a PM, and it's like, yeah, cool, no worries, what time kind of thing, and we sorted it out, and I think it was like a day or two later. So yeah, it was really interesting, and he was really nice. He was interested in me. He wanted to speak about Ability Count, so if you guys have got a spare 50 minutes later in the week when that is aired, I can imagine it's quite a good watch. Unfortunately, his audio and his internet for a professional footballer was a little bit on the terrible side, so apologies. There was quite a lot of times where, I can't shut up and it got a bit muffled, but no, it's a pretty good watch, 51 minutes. And yeah, that was just one in a few. I also had under 21 international Ryan Glover, ex-Bournemouth star Brett Pittman, a very, very familiar face down on the south coast. Well, maybe not after what he said about Fletch, but Warren Cummins, and I recently, not so big a name, but Charlie Seaman, who used to play down here, who lent out on loan. So, yep, quite a few, and I've been very honoured so far, and hopefully I have got I've spoken to Mark Pugh, and hopefully that I might be able to convince him in the near future, so watch your space.
So where did your love from AFC Bournemouth stem from then? Tell us about how you grown up when you started playing football, and then, why was Bournemouth the team for you? Is it just a case of you were born in the area, or, tell us a little bit more about your support for the Cherries and how it all started.
Well, I grew up kind of just coming down to the League 2, League 1 kind of games, and then I don't know really, it kind of went from there. Unfortunately, when it was a fiver, it's a bit different to when it's 40 odd quid a game, but then I went down and then I got a full-time job, so I was in retail, so I couldn't really get to many games in the Championship, and then getting a ticket in the Championship took me. But I remember my first Premier League game was one cold night, it was against Leicester City down here, 2017. I phoned up on the Tuesday afternoon about 4:30. He said, phone me back at 9 o'clock the next morning, you might get one, because they'd gone down to no points. That 1 point got me into Arsenal, and I was like, that's amazing. Yeah. And then that 1 point got me, I think I ended up with 34 in total, and then unfortunately, yeah, so, and then that opened the door up, so then I started going to away games. So a few away days that I'd done, Stamford Bridge, done that about 5 or 6 times, including the 3-0 win. That's a remarkable night. Anfield, although we didn't get a result, very hard place to go, but that was a lecture, that was an opportunity of a lifetime. Up to Manchester a couple of times.
It just shows it is possible, isn't it? Because there are people, obviously we're living in a different climate now whereby we don't know when we're going to go back into grounds, and in terms of the points, they're going to suspend the system for next year, but you've obviously got a lot for the next season after that, so which means you should be able to find it easy to get a ticket. But there's always people that clamour and say, I can't get a ticket. But with things like Twickets, and sometimes when the matches do go down to general sale, there is a chance to get your foot in the door. And when you do, if you keep on buying the tickets, there is a chance to build up that balance. And you're testament to that. So how many points have you got?
I think I'm down to about 16 at the moment.
That's good.
But I think what you need to do is, I don't want to base this too much on tickets, but if you want to go to a game, badly as people say, just go on the website, find out when they're going on sale, get on the phone. Don't bother mucking around online because it just crashes. I used to have a lesson at 9 o'clock in the morning and I still managed to get tickets. I just had to make a quick phone call. But yeah, you can definitely do it. All you need, get your debit card handy, credit card, whatever you want to pay with, apart from cash obviously, and just get on the phone and hopefully you should be able to, because people saying you can't get a ticket, I thought I could never get a ticket, but I managed to. So yes, I was lucky. It might be different if it's for 4 or 5 people, but if you keep trying, that point does get you into good games.
So let's talk a little bit about your autism then. You were diagnosed at a fairly young age. Obviously the comments must be a little bit hurtful when you see things like that, but is it like water off a duck's back to you, or do you take it to heart? Because obviously they're very direct comments, and I think people sometimes are a bit two-dimensional, and they look at a person and they think, well, he looks all right, he doesn't have any visible disability, he's not in a wheelchair, or anything like that, and they just assume that all is okay, and it's just your personality that is caused to how you are. But there is a deeper level to the kind of things you come up with, isn't it?
This isn't the first time this has happened. So I had a full-time job in a shop at Home Bargains in Christchurch, and about over a year ago now, for quite a substantial period of my time at Home Bargains, I had this guy, and without naming names, he was a manager, and I came in after college, so I just done a 8-hour day at college, and I came in to miss football training, to miss something I love, to go and help out to do a rebuild for the evening till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, to set something up because I wanted to. And this manager on this particular night said, "You faked having autism," and then made up a sexual joke. And that really, unfortunately, that led to me kind of resigning. But now I look at this camera and I think, I'm still standing, I'm the best I've been in years, you're the idiot. So people can say what they want to me, because I'll just keep getting back up and doing what I want to do.
Yeah, and what would be your message to people like, on some of the comments that have made disparaging remarks about you? What would your direct message be to them? Because whilst it doesn't affect you like it maybe once would, they also need to be educated, don't they, really, about what this is all about, and that's part of the reason why we're doing this video. But what would you say to them?
That's a very good question, to be honest, Sam. I would probably say you got 2 options. You can either stop typing or come and say it to my face, or you can go and get a course in educational special needs and then work out how to talk to people with disability. Now, I don't like to use that word because, to me, yes, although I know it's in the back of my mind, but I focus on the day-to-day activity, which is watching football, playing football,
and talking about football, obviously, in the free-for-all. I mean, you've been on every single show, and there are people that have maybe now starting to understand you, and they absolutely love your opinion. They love your infectious enthusiasm, and there are people on the live chat comments saying, "Where's Morgan? Where's Morgan?"
Yeah,
and I could see you in the thumbnail, and then I bring you in, and people are just excited to hear what you got to say.
Well, I saw a little comment. I can't remember exactly what I said. Not great for my photographic memory, but I only read it vaguely. I think it was on the lines of something like, "Absolutely love Morgan. MS is spot on everything." His comment, although what he said about Eddie might not, sadly it's true or something. That to me, that makes me feel good about myself. And this video hopefully will educate people. And if anyone wants drop me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Film free, and we can have a chat or whatever.
I'll put it below in the description, so you can contact Morgan directly if you want. But
yeah, it's always a pleasure to talk about it, and it's part of me and it's part of my life. But if I was going to give a message to anyone watching this with a disability, mental health or whatever, just be yourself. You know, you have bad days, you have good days, but don't dwell on anything. If you ever get to the point where you need to talk to someone, you know, feel free to contact your friends, family, you know, myself if you want to, as long as you're being nice and whatever, and we can have a chat, because I think it's really important to get that message, especially in the climate we're in right now where you're not seeing many people. I think this is probably one of the most professional things I've done in Perth and in months, so it's honoured to have the opportunity to speak, but yeah,
that's fair enough. And I mean, at the moment what I've done is I can't block anyone from the channel, but what I can do is hide their comments. So yeah, they look as though they're commenting, but really they're just chatting to themselves, because no one's going to see them or respond, so there's no point in them actually making any comments. However, not everyone completely understands, and maybe you've watched this video now and you just feel bad for saying what you said. If you want to pop me an email, you can do so on YouTube if you go to the About tab, and then I'll just unblock you and all will be good, and then we can start afresh, okay? I'm not, you know, I'm all for being sort of inclusive, and I know it's probably a late night drunken mistake or whatever. However, we're here to talk about football and not the individuals that actually make the comments on football, because if we're going down that road, it's not a very nice road to go down. And there were lots of people on the chat on Saturday night, 30 I counted, 30 different faces. We try to get through them as much as possible. It's very difficult for me sometimes to cut people off, because there could be stimulating debates that are going on, and you know, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and Matt Letizia were at each other's throats, weren't they? But it was good debate.
It was
and
good.
it was also very respectful, wasn't it?
It was good, and I just wanted to pull up on Sam's point there. If you the person who did make, you know, that could have been a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes in life. You know, let's not forget that. If it was a drunken mistake or you didn't mean any hurt, by all means, drop Sam or myself a email, text, whatever, and we can forget it ever happened and we can start again. Not a problem at all. You know, I'm not going to dwell on it. It happened. You know, we move on. But yeah, the debate was fantastic between Kirk and Bournemouth version of Gary Neville, Matt Letizier's Bournemouth Gary Neville, and Jamie Carragher's version of Gary Neville. It was a fantastic debate and a great little watch, so if you haven't seen it, I would definitely highly recommend. And can I also just add on there that people coming on the air, I think it's important that you prepare what you want to say before. Just because the podcast at the weekend, although it was a fantastic 3 hour, it was quite, I think we started to go around, people weren't prepared, and people's cameras, could you please make sure they're set up, your audio's spot on, make sure you wear headphones, because if you don't wear headphones, you know, I couldn't hear Sam at the start of the show because people were mucking around with headphones, so if you could sort that out, please, that'd be amazing. But yeah, no, it's a really good debate between the three guys.
Love it. He's like my right-hand man. Absolutely love it. And yeah, I've got to say that you know, all the things that you said are spot on. We're going to try to sort of rotate as quick as we can, and also, yeah, make sure you're ready. Have something to say. If you haven't really got an opinion, then well, just, you know, leave it. You don't have to have your face on the air, because sometimes I might just say, okay, what's your opinion? Go. Rather than try to get blood out of a stone, sort of thing. And it's just a case of getting the most succinct opinions on air at all times. I don't want to be you know, turning this into a sort of regime or anything, because we want as many people to contribute as possible. But yeah, just have a look at the pinned comment in the last video. I'll pop it in the description below, and then you can see what we're asking for our future videos. So Morgan, just to end, what's it like being outside the Vitality Stadium? Isn't it a shame we can't go inside there, eh?
Don't know, I might have to go and speak to someone. Nah, it's nice to be down here. I haven't, so I came down here, I think it was just before we got relegated, and I saw some of the boys coming out, the 13 lads coming out in their cars, and well, that was an experience. But I couldn't, obviously, with the COVID and the social and the guideline. By the way, this is a social distance interview. Yeah. You know, I already had one telling off today for not wearing for sitting in the run seat on the way here. So, you know, thanks very much for that. But no, I think it's really important to be back down here. Just seen someone. I'm not sure who that is.
Bit of activity there. We know that JT's obviously doing his interview at 3 p.m. in front of the media, and you know, we've gone over that and we're out and we're now sort of looking forward. Obviously, you know, we're mainly looking forward to when we can get back into the stadium. But are you feeling optimistic ahead of this season, or how are you fancying our chances?
Yeah, just to confirm, I don't think that was any 13 player. I think they're still on holiday and they don't report until the 17th of August. So I think that we're still about a week and a bit early. But yeah, no, I think the season's going to go well. I think that we need to, without being harsh, I think we need to be making the playoffs at the very least. So if it isn't working with JT, then maybe we do need to invest again. It's going to be a very hard week. I know the likes of Callum Wilson, Bournemouth goal machine, Joshua Kin and David Brooks are all linked away from the Vitality. So we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be very interesting. Just to, I'm not sure if this is still happening, but Phil Jones apparently is rumoured with making it.
I saw something along those lines, yeah, but
we'll have to wait and see. I don't want to make opinions that aren't particularly true as yet until it's confirmed on Sky Sports. But yeah, no, we're down here in the Vitality. It's boiling hot, so probably the players are happy they're sunning themselves in Ibiza or wherever they are over the country. But yeah, no, hopefully we'll have a good season.
Brilliant. And Morgan, it was fantastic to have you on, and that's what we want to do, like bring people's life stories almost to you and your fan stories. So if you've got a story to tell, then we'll chat and then we'll get you on air and we'll just, give a bit of background, because at the end of the day, even myself, we're just faces that no one else really knows, and it's always nice to learn a little bit more about the person, how they started supporting AFCB, their love for AFC Bournemouth. Reece was telling us about his passion for the club, despite the fact he doesn't live in Bournemouth anymore. He now lives in Reading. He was born in the area and just wanted a connection with some place in Dorset, and it was going to be AFC Bournemouth. It always was. And I'm glad it wasn't Reading, put it that way, and we'll have some interesting tussles with them in the Championship next year. But Morgan, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much, Sam. And yeah, if you just keep watching and being yourselves, and as I said, just please think about what you say before saying it, and like if you're man enough to say it on a keyboard, then say it to people's faces, because it just isn't nice. Discrimination isn't right these days and it won't be tolerated. Thank you very much.
Spoke like a true gent. So that was Morgan Scott there, and you can see more of his face, I'm sure, on future podcast free-for-alls, and hopefully when we're outside the stadium again. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Remember, if you want to get in touch, you can do so via email, where we'll have a chat. But if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Press the thumbs up to like us, and we'll see you in the next video. Up the Cherries.
Back in the day! Back in the day!